in Burma. Now we know it's called Myanmar, right? And it goes back many, many centuries. It's also part of the Middle Eastern culture. It's part of, Alif Layla wa Layla, 1001 Nights. So it's part of that. And this story is also present in Armenia in a different form. What I love about this story, we'll discover when we hear the story, okay? So, how does it start? Story?
Tell me a story.
You guys look a little tired. We're almost done. Story?
Tell me a story.
Once upon a time, there was a king. And this king was enjoying roasted rice cakes on top of his palace balcony with his chief advisor. They would dip those rice cakes into honey and eat them. And they could oversee like his prosperous kingdom. The street below was a busy street where there were lots of shops and lots of markets. People were buying and selling. There was peace in this kingdom. Now, while the king was eating, a drop of honey fell from his mouth on top of the banister of the balcony of the palace. And his minister said, "Your Majesty, would you like me to wipe this?" And he said, "No, this is beneath your dignities. Soon the servants will come and clean it up. Just leave it there." Now it was a hot afternoon sun. It warmed up that honey, which melted down and slid down the palace balcony all the way to the bottom of the street below, where it attracted lots and lots of flies. Yes, thank you. Flies. Those flies were having a delicious, hot, warm honey meal of their own, and they were eating. And there was hiding in the palace wall a little lizard. When she saw those flies having a meal, she wanted a lunch of her own. So she pounced out of that and started eating those flies one by one. Show me. Well, there was a bakery there, and in the windowsill of that bakery there was the baker's cat. And this cat was lazy, but when she saw all that activity on the street, those flies and the lizard eating those flies, she wanted to play with the lizard. So she came running towards the lizard, and she started torturing the poor animal. She tossed the lizard up and down, sideways, one paw to the other. And the king's advisor said, "Your Majesty, that drop of honey that fell from your mouth onto the palace balcony, slid down, went all the way to the street, attracted all those flies, that attracted that lizard, is now resulting in this poor lizard being tortured by the baker's cat. Should we do something about it?" And there's a phrase I will ask you to repeat with me. No, it's not our problem.
No, it's not our problem.
These petty animals, this is how they behave. Well, while the cat was torturing the lizard, the butcher's dog saw the cat and sprang into action. And the two of the animals started fighting, the cat and dog. They were fighting with each other, scratching each other. When the baker heard his cat, he came out with a rolling pin and struck the dog. The dog whimpered in pain, and out came the butcher. The two men started fighting while the animals were still fighting. And the advisor said, "Your Majesty, now we have the baker and the butcher fighting with each other. Should we do something about it?" And the king said, "No, it is not our problem. You know these common people, this is how they handle their disputes. Let them be. Eventually they'll get tired and go." Well, that's not what happened. The people who supported the baker came on the baker's side, and the people who supported the butcher came on the butcher's side. Now the two groups of people started fighting. It resulted, yes, they were starting to fight, and there was chaos. People were throwing things in the marketplace. There was fruit everywhere. People were fighting, and the fighting was spreading. One of them, just one person from that group, took fire and he threw it in the bake shop. That fire jumped from one shop to another, to another, to another, until it surrounded the palace itself. Now, just in the nick of time, the king and his advisor were saved. But it was too late for his kingdom. Many decades later, many years later, a group of judges approached a princess learned in the laws and asked her about a minor dispute in their community. And she said, you know, there is nothing as a minor dispute. There is no trivial matter. Don't you remember the story of the kingdom that was lost because of a mere drop of honey? So this is the story.